So for our first panel, will be for North and Central Florida. And representing Northwest Florida will be Erica Grancagnolo. Representing North Central Florida is Jeff Hendry. Representing Northeast Florida is John Freeman. And finally, representing East Central Florida is Mark Hohenstein. Please welcome the panelists. And now I'd like to introduce Erica Grancagnolo with Northwest Florida.
Hello, I'm Erica Grancagnolo with the Santa Rosa County, Florida Economic Development Office. I'm here today to talk about the Northwest Florida region and Leonardo helicopters. Northwest Florida is known as the Panhandle of Florida. And while we have beautiful white sand beaches that you typically think of when you think about Florida, we have a unique identity that differentiates us from the rest of the state. Northwest Florida is home to 6 major military installations, all of which are related to aviation and aerospace missions. These have a huge impact on the industries, R&D, and talent pool in the region. Defense contractors, manufacturers, and high-tech businesses located in the region benefit from the skills of the 3,000 service members that separate each year. So while other parts of the country may be experiencing labor shortages as a result of the COVID pandemic, we here in Northwest Florida have a continually renewing labor pool of talented, trained, experienced individuals. We also have shovel-ready sites, 18 premier sites across the region, including a 10,000-acre giga site. Many of these sites are shovel-ready and strategically located along the Interstate 10 corridor. They're perfect for manufacturing and distribution, with quick and easy access to all points across the Southeast United States. Mobile, New Orleans, Birmingham, and Atlanta all fall within a 300-mile radius. Northwest Florida is a great jumping-off point to reach the auto manufacturers in Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, or any of the aviation and aerospace companies scattered throughout the Southeast United States. We also have 3 deepwater seaports, 3 commercial airports, and 2 foreign trade zones, 1 in Pensacola and 1 in Panama City. The Foreign Trade Zone designation can save you thousands annually on duties, merchandise processing fees, and more. But what truly sets us apart here in Northwest Florida is Triumph Gulf Coast. Triumph Gulf Coast is a $1.5 billion economic development incentive just for Northwest Florida. Triumph funds can be used for infrastructure, workforce development, and tax abatement. So it's for all these reasons that Leonardo Helicopters, a company headquartered in Italy with operations that span the globe, decided to expand into Northwest Florida. Leonardo was awarded a contract with the U.S. Navy to replace the fleet of aging helicopters at Naval Air Station Whiting Field, located right here in Santa Rosa County. The company will be constructing a customer support center at Whiting Aviation Park, a county-owned industrial park adjacent to the back gate of the Navy base. Santa Rosa County has a first-of-its-kind agreement with the Navy that allows civilian tenants of the park access to the runway and use of the control tower at Whiting Field. Santa Rosa County used funding from Triumph Gulf Coast to add infrastructure such as road and utilities to the aviation park. And Leonardo is working with Space Florida to take full advantage of tax benefits. Space Florida was created through the state of Florida to strengthen Florida's position as a global leader in aerospace research, investment, exploration, and commerce. Only Northwest Florida can provide the Triumph Gulf Coast Space Florida incentive combination for aviation and aerospace companies. So thanks to Northwest Florida's 6 aviation-related military bases, Leonardo will find the highest concentration of military retirees in the country ready for work. As a resident of Northwest Florida, we truly appreciate our military workforce of 130,000 as part of our overall workforce of 1 million residents within a 1-hour drive time. Within Northwest Florida, you'll find some of the fastest growing counties in the country, and we're confident with all this growth, we'll make your business successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. And now let's welcome Jeff Hendry from North Central Florida.
Thank you, Casey, and it's really a privilege to be here today. My name is Jeff Hendry. I serve as the Executive Director for the North Florida Economic Development Partnership, which is a 14-county rural region in North Central Florida I wanted to have this map up initially just so you could see exactly where we're located. I know a lot of times when we're looking at the state of Florida, we're looking through the prism of a lot of the metro areas, particularly in Central and South Florida, in particular, Orlando and Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. But there's a whole nother story in Florida, and that is its rural regions and its opportunity for economic development going forward, and how it can be a very attractive region to invest and grow businesses and high wage jobs. I really think one of the major things I want to leave with you today is our targeted industries. If you hear one thing that I say today, know that we are highly focused on manufacturing. We want to be and are going to be the hub of manufacturing, not only in the state of Florida, but in the entire southeastern United States. As you can see where our region is, we're very conducive to a 20 to 22 million person market already in the state of Florida. But as you see, the infrastructure, particularly the transportation infrastructure that extends up into the southeastern United States and the connectivity nationally, you can see that we're really well positioned to be able to be a manufacturing hub. That involves everything from light and advanced manufacturing to heavy industrial. We have sites that have been inventoried throughout our region that are conducive to the manufacturing sector. So truly manufacturing is going to be and has been the focus for our region going forward. Another industry that we're highly engaged in is the logistics, transportation, and warehousing and distribution industries. This provides us an opportunity to utilize, again, our robust transportation network. It's not only the interstate systems that you can see that cut through our region, but also we have a number of strategic intermodal system network highways designated by the state of Florida. We also have a number of other facilities. We have 2 Class Tier 1 railroads that that traverse our entire region. Norfolk Southern and CSX have facilities. I kind of want to give you another picture and a drill down at the local level so that you can see the transportation network that's throughout our region. You can see that they also go into 2 deep water ports, in particular the Jacksonville port. As you see, the rail in Norfolk Southern, as well as CSX, goes directly into that port. That makes it really conducive to importing and exporting product, getting it out internationally. We also have the ability to obviously move freight through the trucking industry with regard to our transportation network. I would share with you also another major business sector for us, obviously being in rural, is the agribusiness. And when I say agribusiness, I'm really focused on a lot of the advanced agribusinesses in terms of food processing, food distribution, food and crop growth. And so that has been and will always be a mainstay of who we are in rural Florida, is the agribusiness sector. Another sector that is really maybe unique and something that's not thought of when you look at rural communities is our aviation, and some niches within that aviation sector, in particular maintenance, repair, and overhaul companies, which I'll reference later, that actually are foreign direct investment presences at our airports. We not only have airports that have 5,000 to 6,000 foot runways, we have at least 2 airports in our rural communities that have 8,000 to 8,500 foot runways, so that we can take any level of aircraft, so that the repair and maintenance on components and materials assembly and on provide an excellent opportunity for the aviation industry. But equally as important to our physical infrastructure are a number of our partners. Certainly, we have a close connection with our 2 largest investor-owned utilities who we work with and partner with each and every day. Florida Power and Light and Duke Energy are those 2 investor-owned utilities. We partner with them on pointing businesses to our region. They're excellent partners in terms of their support financially, as well as in incentives that they can provide from the electricity standpoint. They also have been very involved in the renewable energy sector across our region with regard to solar in particular, and the capturing and the distribution of that renewable energy throughout our region. And so that's a really high focus for us as well. I would also share one last thing with regard to our physical attributes in terms of infrastructure. 4 of our counties are connected to Florida's largest foreign trade zone. And so we bring that particular asset to the table in those 4 counties, and those counties being Baker, Columbia, Bradford, and Putnam counties, which are part of the 5,000 square mile foreign trade zone out of Jacksonville's port. So that lends itself to a number of advantages, particularly as it relates to manufacturing, warehousing and storing and assembly, as well as duty-free deferments, which can often help with a lot of cash flow with regard to companies that are getting started and on the ground in our region. I want to share with you probably one of the, in my view, equally as important of our physical infrastructure and our partners is our deep and broad and diverse workforce talent that we have across this region. As you can see, we are obviously very rural in nature, and as a product of that, we have generations of workforce talent that are skilled in the blue collar trades. We have a number of technical colleges throughout our region that lend themselves to specific certification programs that lend themselves well to the manufacturing industries, as well as to the logistics and distribution and construction industries. Those technical colleges have often designed and developed new customized certification programs in the trades fields to meet the specific needs of companies that may have a unique product or a unique way of doing business. And so we have a deep and broad and diverse blue collar workforce. I would also point out to you that we are bookended by Florida's 2 flagship universities, the University of Florida in Gainesville, as well as Florida State University in Tallahassee, bookend our region. And so we have access to a number of human capital, of degrees that can be specific in the high level professions as well, not to mention the University of North Florida in Jacksonville. I think what's interesting about our workforce is when you look at our rural communities alone, they look at about a workforce of 450 to maybe 600,000 across our entire region. But when you factor in the city of Jacksonville and Duval County and Gainesville and the city of Tallahassee, which are adjacent and contiguous to our region, that workforce grows in many levels to 1.2, 1.5 million people in terms of the labor force and the labor pool that we can draw from. So the technical colleges, again, they bring that blue collar trade certification in the fields of electricians and welders and machinists and heavy equipment operators, and things that are so critical to our region, to the businesses that have located there and grown and developed over time. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our North Florida Economic Development Partnership and how we can be a tremendous resource for each and every CEO and company on this call. When you're looking at trying to gain business intelligence about our region, and in particular an inventory of sites, of the labor pool for different areas of our region, when you're looking at the connections and the key contacts that we have in terms of business intelligence with our local economic development professionals within the counties, we work with these folks daily. We know about the political environments in terms of what the tolerance level might be for a particular type of industry. We understand that speed to market and navigating the bureaucratic process in terms of site development approval and permitting and things of that nature. We have an understanding of each and every one of our communities. We can give you the key contacts on the ground. We can give you our key contacts with regard to the utilities, the rail providers, the transportation experts, the engineering, the local workforce, and on down the line. So I think we can be a real turnkey operation. The other resources that we bring to the table are the ability to help our communities apply for infrastructure-related grants, training-related grants. As an example, we recently, at a catalyst site in Suwannee County, were able to secure upwards of around $13 million. And I'll go through that project in a minute as a specific FDI in state incentives, in rural infrastructure grants for water and sewer capacity, as well as access roads being built into that facility. And so we bring a knowledge base with our relationship with our state agencies, Department of Environmental Protection, the Department of Economic Opportunity, the Department of Transportation, Enterprise Florida. We really have a wealth of knowledge over the last 15 years in terms of knowing who to go to get answers. In many cases, it's just as valuable to have the answers of no, that's not available, no, that's not doable here, so that you all aren't wasting valuable time and effort in terms of trying to find the great fit in our region for your particular company. Again, we're more of a turnkey operation at the NFEDP. We have really close connections with our economic development professionals, the local governing bodies, and everybody on the ground that it takes to make a project come to fruition. The other partner that we have great connections with is CareerSource Florida, which is really a lot of our employment pool. We have at least 4 CareerSource boards that touch our region. We're in constant contact with them about the labor pool, on the skill levels. They can be a tremendous asset for you when you're looking at hiring local and the entrees into those various regions and into for your specific skill trades levels or your professional positions. We just want to serve as that initial call for you into our region. We truly believe and know that we can provide you the information you need to make some really informed decisions. We can walk through this process with you to look at expediting permitting and getting through those processes that take to go vertical on your facility or whatever the case may be. I also want to just share with you, we already have a significant amount of foreign direct investment in our region. It's growing every day. Since 2008, we've had the privilege and the honor of securing roughly $240 million in foreign direct investment across our region. Those industries have covered the gamut of aviation maintenance, repair, and overhaul, to agribusiness with regard to growing crops, processing food, distributing that food, both across nationally in our country, as well as exporting that. We also have obviously a huge investment in the timber industry, which is our largest natural resource in our region. We are a timber-focused region from a timber processing, lumber processing, but that also has the opportunity to be able to have spin-off industries from that in the renewable energy, renewable electricity. When we look at wood pellets and other green type of byproduct that can be developed within our region, exported to Europe and to other communities across the globe that are focused on that renewable energy, provides a lot of opportunity. We also have not only the timber industry, but materials and components. We have a French company in Putnam County that is building materials and wall building. And so there's a range of industries and investment that's been made in our region. Primarily, I would estimate it at about 60 to 70% has been from Europe. And in particular in Europe, it has been Austria, Germany, Italy, France, and also Austria. I also would point to massive investment from Canada into our region, in particular in the areas of bottled water and distribution, but also in the area of specialized military training and aircraft at our airport in Bradford County and Clay County. And so there's just a range and diversity of foreign direct investment. Those are just samplings of the types of industries that have been have located in our region. Can't tell you how many calls we're getting daily. from an Asian standpoint, we also have foreign direct investment from Hong Kong, and in particular from the Swire company with regard to maintenance, repair, and overhaul at our Lake City Gateway Airport, which the maintenance and repair there is at about a 600 to 700 job level now. They're looking to expand to 11 to 1,200 with regard to the growth in that industry at our Lake City Gateway Airport. So I just think there's a lot of activity, a lot of opportunity. When you look at the plethora of workforce talent in these specific industries that exist in our region, and also when you look at the training that is that's available, I just think we really have a lot to offer with regard to moving forward in terms of a great attraction if you're in the manufacturing, logistics, and distribution, and the previous targeted industries that I mentioned. We want to be your resource. The North Florida Economic Development Partnership can be that turnkey operation in being your business intelligence, your boots on the ground, your key contacts with our local economic development professionals, our state partners, our utilities. And I just believe that we bring a lot to the table. And trust me when I say this, the North Central Florida region is going to be the manufacturing hub for the state of Florida, from its geography, from its robust infrastructure, transportation facilities, with its commitment to an inventory of sites that we've invested in over the last 4 to 5 years, and then our access to markets. So it's been a privilege and an honor to be able to talk to you today. I look forward to being able to answer any questions you might have of us. I would encourage you to go to our website at nflp.org. Look at that. It's a robust database with workforce talent data, as well as our inventory of sites. And we're just a phone call away. So we encourage you to contact us. We can connect you with the right people. And I look forward to working with each of you in the future. And I look forward to taking any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Jeff. And now let's welcome John Freeman from Northeast Florida.
Casey, thank you so much for your kind introduction. My name's John Freeman, and I represent the JAX USA Partnership Region, which is located in the northeastern corner of the great state of Florida. And so happy to have this opportunity to share our region with you. We are situated, as I mentioned, in the northeastern corner of Florida, and in a very strategic location relative to the U.S. As you can see, we're in the southeastern corner of the United States. We are in close proximity to 98 million consumers in a same-day delivery scenario, whether for your supply chain or manufacturing distribution. Florida is a fabulous market, growing almost 1,000 people per day are migrating into the state. Our share of that is approximately 75 people per day moving into our region. As we drill down into our region in a little more detail, we are comprised of 7 counties. Each of our counties has a distinct flavor: cosmopolitan, rural activity. There is agriculture, there's manufacturing, and this area represents or has about almost 2 million in population here. We are a region of great innovation and forward thinking in terms of opportunities. We have a great in-migration of talent. We have fabulous weather attributes. We like to say that we have 4 seasons without the snow, and a great and increasingly younger workforce, and a cost of living that is below the national average, and a climate that is quite conducive to a variety of work, play, live balance. Just a sampling of the companies that we have on our landscape. Here represented are companies from Japan and China and Germany, the UK, Australia, and France. but a sample of wonderful international companies that have chosen to invest and are prospering in our region. Florida has a fabulous advantage as it relates to business friendliness. According to the Nonpartisan Tax Foundation, Florida is ranked 4th for the most business-friendly climate in all of the United States. We have 0 personal income tax and corporate franchise tax and taxes on inventory and manufacturing equipment. And on average in our region, very low property tax rates that make a fabulous environment for locating your business operations here. In our region, we tend to focus on 5 key areas of business activity. We are a very diverse region. We are not tied completely to one activity that would, whose sort of slowdown would jeopardize the prosperity of our region. But we have a great landscape of manufacturing activity, aerospace, heavy manufacturing, brewing activity that is here. We're also home to many financial services companies, banks, fintech operations. We are home to the world's largest fintech company on our landscape, FIS, who are one of our 3 Fortune 500 companies located here. We have, and driving this is a robust landscape of IT and innovativeness that is the fuel that fuels these financial services companies. We have a fabulous presence here of world-class healthcare systems. The Mayo Clinic has one of their 3 campuses in the U.S. located here. On this campus, they have research programs in neurodegenerative disease and cancer diseases, as well as a recently opened innovation exchange where companies can come in and do research under the watchful eye of the Mayo Clinic, and perhaps assist them in commercializing those businesses. And last but not least, we have a robust ports system here. We have 5 deep water ports in our region, which fuels our economy, increasingly the e-commerce space, as well as manufacturing. This is the Port of Jacksonville, or Jacksport is the #2 automobile processing port in all of U.S. We have a numerous presence here of parts distribution centers and import distribution centers that take advantage of the logistics characteristics of being at the nexus of major motorways such as Interstate 95, which serves the north-south from Miami all the way to the state of Maine in the northeast U.S., as well as the beginning of Interstate 10, which travels westward across the south of the United States, connecting ultimately to California. And then just 55 miles to the west of us is I-75 motorway, which serves Atlanta, Chicago, and Detroit markets. So fabulous connectivity for the movement of goods. And one other sort of attribute is that there are fabulous opportunities for companies who desire to serve customers to the north of the state of Florida, from the upper part of the peninsula here in Jacksonville, for transportation opportunities, discounted trucking to move goods and services, to move goods northward into the commerce of the U.S. One of the things that we offer here with the JAX USA partnership is, as an economic development agency, We strive to assist you as you are evaluating places in the U.S., places in Florida to do business. We like to offer what we call a soft landing for you. Our services are completely free to you. We help facilitate introductions to planning, permitting, zoning agencies, working with commercial real estate brokers if you desire office or industrial or warehouse space. We are partnered with our state's workforce training system, Career Source, to assist you in providing talent acquisition and free online job postings for positions you may be advertising for, as well as some in screening of those positions. We also, in our area, have a wonderful presence of colleges and universities that provide our region with talent. And we're also within a 2.5-hour drive from our state's major university systems: University of Florida, University of Central Florida, Florida State University. We also assist you in walking through identifying any incentives that you might be eligible for. And also, we understand that companies will need to better understand certain dynamics of doing business here. Those may include legal or accountancy questions, and we can connect you with those resources. And then, of course, any resources that are related to logistics, whether it's the ocean, rail, truck, can work with you there. And then, of course, we have great utilities providers that can also assist you in landing here. Again, these are services that are at no cost to your company. And for any questions, please feel free to reach out to me here at the JAX USA Partnership. You can reach me on this telephone number and this email address. And we're happy to be here for you as you consider your expansion considerations in the United States, the great state of Florida, and we hope at the end of the day here in Jacksonville. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John. Let's welcome Mark Hohenstein now with East Central Florida.
Thank you, Casey. Really appreciate the opportunity to join the discussion. And my name is Mark Hohenstein, Managing Director for Duke Energy Florida's Economic Development Team. And today I'll be talking about the Orlando Space Coast region. This region is one of the most dynamic locations in the U.S. for business. The region is connected, smart, growing, diverse, and an incredible value for businesses. So let's start with how connected this region is. First of all, starting from the left side of your screen, counties in the region include Sumter, Lake, Orange, Seminole, Osceola, Volusia, and Brevard. The region's population is around 3.9 million people. But as you can see here, your company can access 8.6 million people within a 2-hour drive. When it comes to travel, Orlando is served by an international airport with more than 175 nonstop destinations. Road access includes 3 interstate highways and the Florida Turnpike. Companies can distribute their products to Atlanta and Miami from Orlando in one day. Port Canaveral is the only quinta-modal port in the US. Yes, air, land, sea, rail, and space. Companies from around the world are choosing the Orlando Space Coast region for its connectivity to Florida, the United States, and the world. This is a very smart region. US News and World Report ranked Florida #1 in higher education 3 years in a row. The ranking was based upon percentages of adults with associate degrees or higher, the rate of students completing public 4-year and 2-year college programs within 150% of the normal time, the average tuition and fees for in-state students at public institutions, and the average debt load of graduates from public and private colleges. Just to give you a sense for the talent pipeline in this region, I'm going to give you a few enrollment statistics. University of Central Florida had a fall 2020 full-time enrollment of almost 72,000 students. This is the largest university enrollment in Florida and the 9th largest in the US. Also, UCF has seen a 115% growth rate in enrollment since 2000. 75% of UCF graduates, I love this, stay in 11 county region around Orlando, and 90% of them stay in Florida. You can also see the University of Florida on this slide. They have almost they have almost 58,000 students enrolled and are the 3rd largest in Florida, the 15th largest in the US. The University of South Florida in Tampa has almost 51,000 students for fall of 2020. They're the 5th largest in Florida and the 37th largest in the US. And then Valencia College at almost 49,000 students enrolled, 4th largest in Florida and the 31st largest in the US. Centrally located in the state, the Orlando Space Coast region is ideally suited to attract graduates, not only from our regional institutions, like I mentioned, but from all over the state. There are 632,000 higher ed students that are enrolled in schools within 100 miles of Orlando, from small industry-specific magnet programs to large public research universities. Orlando's breadth of institutions virtually guarantees there are academic programs and graduates for any workforce need. When it comes to innovation, our universities compete very well. Patents awarded in 2019 by UCF, to UCF, UF, and USF were 293 in that time frame, versus 210 at University of North Carolina, Duke, and NC State. If you look at just the last 5 years, UCF, UF, and USF have racked up almost 1,400 patents versus 964 at UNC, Duke, and NC State. That's 41% more. And we're growing. As Orlando continues to grow, so does its talented workforce. Over the last 20 years, this region's labor force, as you can see in this chart, has grown by 30%, making it the #1 metro in the nation for job growth between 2015 and 2018. 6.4% of employees commute into the 7-county region from another county. And this 7-county labor force is made up of 1.8 million people. The 7-county region's unemployment is 6.5%, but it's mitigated by in-migration. And if you look at the population as a whole for this region, it's about 4 million. And this is a very diverse region. And I'm just going to talk about the people side of that for a second. At its core, the Orlando Space Coast region is a warm and welcoming region made stronger by its people who bring unique ideas, backgrounds, and perspectives. This is not just a region filled with diversity, it's a place where anyone can thrive, and people are starting to take notice. Here's an example. If you were to place 7 people in a room, chances are overwhelmingly that one of them moved here in the last 10 years. We have one of the largest net immigration populations in the US. With all this growth, and as one of the world's top tourism destinations, this region is no stranger to people of different backgrounds, ethnicities, religions, nationalities, and abilities. The Orlando MSA is a community built on inclusion. By welcoming so many new students and residents from all over the world, the city has grown into the diverse melting pot that it is today. If you consider the the net international migration rate, the Orlando MSA stands out with a 12.9% rate compared to 8.3% for Florida and 3% for the US. Another interesting thing to note is Orlando is the 5th fastest growing Spanish-speaking market in the US with an 18% growth rate. This is faster than Tampa, Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, and Las Vegas. As the most visited destination in the US, Orlando Space Coast is welcoming of all people and cultures. Your company, your people, your ideas are welcome here. And now I'm going to talk about the diversity of our industries in this region. So not only is our population diverse, but so are the industries that you'll find here in the Orlando Space Coast region. We're more corporate than you think. Although this region is known globally for hospitality, 80% of this region's 1.3 million jobs are in occupations other than tourism. Our jobs are in sectors like aviation, aerospace, and defense, life sciences, information technology, manufacturing, business and professional services, and corporate headquarters. As you can see in the slide, many international companies have chosen to grow here in the Orlando Space Coast region. The Orlando MSA's manufacturing employment growth rate at 4.2% is growing faster than the US average of 3.4%. Industry leaders like Darden Restaurants, Deloitte, Electronic Arts, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Tupperware, and Verizon are either headquartered here or they have a significant presence in the region. Orlando is also home to the major US operations of international companies like Germany's Siemens Energy, Japan's Mitsubishi Hitachi Power Systems, and Israel's Maser Robotics. In total, more than 150 international companies representing about 20 countries have facilities in the region. With a cost of living index of 93.9, the Orlando Space Coast region is extremely competitive from a cost perspective. When you consider the lower cost of living coupled with the amenities one can access by being here, it makes for an incredible value proposition for companies and their people. And just a few examples include, if you think about the entertainment options, they're endless here, including the state-of-the-art Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. And also downtown Orlando hosts year-round professional sports. You also have the benefit of no snow days, year-round outdoor sports and recreation as a result of that. Hundreds of parks, hundreds of miles of trails, freshwater springs, beaches to the east and to the west. Orlando's retail offerings, if you were to try to put them all together, it'd be enough to fill 800 American football fields. And there are more than 5,000 restaurants, complete with celebrity-owned restaurants and a high concentration of James Beard nominated restaurants and chefs. Here's another affordable stat to consider. At the University of Central Florida, 50% of first-time in-college students graduate with no educational debt. And Forbes' best education value rankings include UF at number 20, UCF at 119, and USF at 125. So Casey, there is so much here for companies to consider. I welcome them to visit and see it for themselves. Thank you again for the opportunity. I look forward to the Q&A.
Thank you, Mark, and wonderful job, everyone. Thank you for those great presentations. Now let's move on to Q&A. Well, great to see everyone together. And as a programming note, we are now in our Q&A session, and please do check out the chat feature and do enter your questions there. Also, as a programming note, John Freeman from our Northeast Florida wasn't able to join us for this portion. We'll miss him, but you've got three fantastic economic developers represented here. I can tell you personally, I've lived in North Florida, I've lived in Central Florida, and I've done business all over the state. This is a really great opportunity to dig very deeply into Florida's diverse regions. But first, I kind of want to dig in a little bit more about the foreign direct investment projects that we've been working. And Erica, I was intrigued by your presentation and really enjoyed learning a little bit about Leonardo. Can you tell us a little bit more about that project and what drove them to locate in your region?
Absolutely. And before I jump into what drove them to locate here, I'd like to mention that without our Regional Economic Development Fund, Triumph Gulf Coast, none of it would have been possible. And so I'm going to continue stressing the importance of Triumph, probably as I answer every question, because it is something that's transformational for our region. Again, Triumph Gulf Coast is the $1.5 billion economic development fund that we have available only in Northwest Florida. The fund is administered by a board of directors who are business owners and who understand company needs. They understand the need to be flexible as far as an incentive fund goes, and they're very interested in making projects happen. So I have to start with the importance that Triumph played with Leonardo deciding to locate here in Northwest Florida. So with that said, I'll start to tell the story of Leonardo. Just like with most companies, the first conversation with Leonardo had to do with a ready site. At the time, we didn't have a ready site. We had a concept and a design for an aviation park, and that's where Triumph came in. Triumph awarded us the money, $8.5 million, to put the infrastructure into the park. So the initial meeting that we had with Leonardo was really looking at the timeline. Thankfully, we had already done the design work. So, you know, the first meeting with them had to do with reassuring them that we would be able to have a site ready for them to construct their facility on the timeline that they needed. So, you know, that's similar to any other conversation that you would have with any company looking to locate ready sites. I'm happy to report today that our aviation park is ready, shovel ready, and I have to say it's beautiful. The Aviation Park is sort of the crown jewel here in Santa Rosa County. We have a first of its kind agreement with the U.S. Navy that allows civilian tenants of our aviation park through the fence access to the control tower and runway at Naval Air Station Whiting Field. So it's a pretty unique situation here. As I mentioned in my presentation, we are heavy with military and specifically aviation related military operations here in our region. And so it's really part of the fabric of who we are. So there's a lot of opportunity here. Leonardo saw that opportunity. Leonardo initially was preparing to put in a bid to replace the fleet of aging trainer helicopters at NAS Whiting Field. So that was pretty important to them. And so they saw the advantage, the competitive advantage of creating a facility here in the region with all the aviation opportunities and the competitive advantage of being close to their customer and their end user. Ultimately, everything worked out. They received the award from the U.S. Navy. They are preparing to construct a 100,000 square foot facility at our aviation park. And there's a lot more I can talk about. I'll pause right there and give you an opportunity to ask another question.
Fantastic, Erica. To Jeff Hendry, I was intrigued by your presentation, loved it. Your vision is so compelling. And just because a region might not be very well known doesn't mean it couldn't be a great fit for an international company. I know you've worked your share of companies, projects with companies overseas. Tell us about one that you really enjoyed.
Well, thank you, Casey. And again, just as a kind of a reminder for folks, we're in North Central Florida, which borders on Georgia, South Carolina, and even into Alabama. So we have a unique challenge in many cases. But I would want to share with you, I think the Klausner Lumber One project that we were engaged in beginning, quite frankly, in 2011. We came in to formalize that agreement in 2014-15. The reason I really want to talk about that project is it's kind of two projects within one. Just took an enormous amount of competition and bringing the community together to pitch Suwannee County. They have one of two catalyst sites that is located in our region. The catalyst sites offer a number of unique tools for us to be able to recruit, much like the Triumph Fund that Erica mentioned. The catalyst sites that we have in our region offer a number of economic development tools. The reason why I want to talk about Klausner is it really was a unique project in that an Austrian-based company that was looking for the first time to expand their reach into North America. They did not have any presence in North America whatsoever. We found ourselves competing with 5 other states to try to secure this project. And so it really, from a regional standpoint, was something that was a game changer for our region and bringing attention to our region. They had the opportunity to really kind of take advantage of what we consider to be the greatest wood basket in the entire country. It is a lumber-based company. They were the largest producer output-wise in the world in terms of their exporting out of Austria and in parts of Germany, all around the world. And so a daunting task for a relatively newly kind of constructed regional organization and a county of relative size. But we really pulled ourselves together. A lot of people say, what do we think was the difference for our region? And I think it, in large measure, was the passion that community had to make this a success. The regional folks, the state economic development group out of Enterprise, Florida, that was very supportive of our efforts. Also, the local private providers from electricity to the land clearing. to the water and sewer capacity issues, that we were able to pull state resources in the amount of almost $13 million, strong state support. We had local support where the county was willing to invest up to $4.5 million on their own to complement the $170 million private capital investment from Klausner. And so we really pulled our resources together. People ask us what really made the difference. And again, I go back to our passion, our willingness to be personally involved from a staff standpoint to help them navigate the permitting processes on air and water quality. Also securing a rail spur that was critical for their ability to utilize the Class 1 railroads that we have going into the Jacksonville port, which serve their exporting needs. And then, you know, all in all, a lot of those really practical things. But I tell you what really sold Klausner was when we pulled together 18 of our community leaders in Suwannee County and state representatives, and we literally visited their plants in Austria. It showed a personal willingness on our part to go see how they operated, look at the workforce, look at how we could accommodate and create that template in our region on that catalyst site. And it was very impressive to them that we became personally involved. And as we all know in this business, it's all about personal relationships, you know, a diligent commitment to do what it takes to secure a project. And so when you look at those factors, I just think really our passion, our willingness, we understand this is not a 8 to 5 business. This is a 24/7 business. It was very important to them to see our commitment. And I think our expertise that we brought, being able to navigate both federal grants, state grants that we had available, as well as our local investment of time, was a game changer. I'll close with this, Casey. It was a 2-in-1 project. Klausner actually had some financial difficulties, and COVID took them under. But we were able to secure again through an auctioning process to get a new company out of named Benderholz, which actually purchased the factory. The local community support to get it back off the ground. I will tell you, they began operations first quarter of 2021. They're fully operational now. And so I guess our willingness to, one, go through the peak success of securing a project, finding a challenge that we needed to, that was unbeknownst to not a lot of people, and to reconfigure and show the passion to another company. They're fully operational, actually encouraged another 50 million private capital investment. So I know we'll have questions at the end, but again, just a doggedness and a willingness to do whatever it takes to meet the needs of a project and a prospect.
Fantastic, Jeff. Love that example. Mark, from the Orlando and Space Coast region, no stranger at all to international visitors and companies as well. You got a favorite project as well?
Yeah, sure, Casey. You know, like you mentioned, with so many international companies in the Orlando Space Coast region operating successfully, it can be hard to pick one, but a foreign direct investment project that happened in 2008 demonstrates a great example. For those who may remember, the United States and many countries around the world were in the midst of the Great Recession. Florida not only faced the Great Recession, but faced another major issue as NASA's Space Shuttle program was due to retire in 2011. The Space Shuttle program provided over 15,000 highly skilled technical jobs for the region and hundreds of millions in contracts for local firms. The impact of that program on this region and even Florida's economy was significant. As you can imagine, economic developers like me were working diligently to try to address this issue. And around that time, several companies throughout the world were developing very light and light jets for the executive jet market. You can imagine what a challenging time it was to sell executive jets, and some companies delayed or even canceled their development plans. But there was one company that had a vision that the US and global market would soon rebound, and that company was the Brazilian aircraft manufacturer Embraer. A little background on Embraer: they were founded in 1969 and had grown to become the fourth largest aircraft manufacturer in the world. All aircraft manufacturing was done in Brazil. They had developed a new line of executive jets that they called the Phenom 100 very light jet and the Phenom 300 light jets. These jets carry between 4 to 7 passengers, and the Phenom 100's base price was just under $3 million, and the Phenom 300's was $6.6 million. The feedback from their high-end customers was very clear. Despite the recession, these aircraft were fantastic, and the demand remained very strong. So they really want to take advantage of that. If they could find a way to produce the Phenom quickly, they could sell a lot of jets. There were many factors that influenced Embraer's decision, but some of the key factors were U.S. customers accounted for 60% of Embraer's global private aircraft sales. So their strategy was to get closer to their customers. Embraer wanted a location that was easily accessible and a place where customers would feel comfortable visiting, sometimes even with their families. Embraer needed a qualified workforce to produce aircraft with outstanding quality. Cost was a factor, because cost is always a factor. They needed to move quickly. They had a site selection, a decision timeline that comprised only 4 months, and they wanted room to grow. So the company conducted a nationwide search that yielded 5 sites in 3 states. Ultimately, Embraer chose Melbourne, Florida, which is about 90 minutes east of Orlando and just 30 minutes from Cape Canaveral, where the space shuttle was launched. The area satisfied every requirement the company needed and more. Now, you may wonder why I'm referencing a project from 2008, but I think that the time that has passed helps to prove this location was the best for Embraer. So they found that their customers loved the Orlando Space Coast location. The company found and hired an extremely talented workforce, including former NASA space shuttle technicians. Embraer benefited from significant state, county, city, and airport incentives as well. And they realized an ongoing cost savings. They found a strong and stable business climate. The state and the community moved quickly to accommodate the very fast ramp up that Embraer had. And they have even found the room to grow that they were looking for. Embraer's initial plan was to manufacture the Phenom in both Brazil and Florida. If you fast forward to today, all Phenom manufacturing was moved from Brazil to Florida. Embraer constructed a new facility to manufacture not only the Phenom 100 and 300, but also their medium-sized jets, the Legacy 450 and 500. Embraer established a research and development center and an aircraft seat manufacturing operation here. Embraer now employs more than 1,000 people in the Orlando Space Coast region. Although it was a project that started with 200 new jobs and a $50 million capital investment, as you can see, it's become so much more, and this project proved that Florida offers incredible value for national companies looking to invest even during tough times. The project also served as a catalyst for an incredible resurgence of aviation, aerospace, and defense industry projects in the region and in Florida. So it's all pretty exciting stuff, and we are thrilled to have Embraer in the region.
Man, that is awesome stuff. 3 fantastic examples from 2 continents, defense, aviation, energy, and wood products. I mean, it's the diversity of different industries that can find a great home here, not only from different locations, but also the industries too. Fantastic stuff. Jeff, I want to go back to you. Again, North Central Florida may not be all that well known, but I want to dig a little bit deeper into some of the incredible assets that are inherent to your region that make it such a compelling place for business. I think you're muted, Jeff.
Thank you, Casey. Yeah, it is a unique region. I think it comes down to both tangible and intangible assets. And I would start with our tangible assets, which is our physical infrastructure. It is just a tremendous region where we are blessed to have access to all markets. One, certainly we have the market of the state of Florida in and of itself, which is 20 to 22 million people. But we also, with our location in North Florida, and also having 3 major interstate highways that run east and west, north and south, to the southeast market of the United States, and obviously connecting to other strategic intermodal systems throughout the country. But then we've also got access to a minimum of 3 great seaports with direct Class 1 tier railroads of Norfolk Southern and CSX that go into Jacksport. We can go through Tampa Bay Port as well. And so a lot of times we look at rural Florida as, and you hear that term rural as kind of vast and disparate, which we are. But at the end of the day, we have tremendous physical assets to move freight and cargo and product. And so do it in a lot of multimodal ways. The other thing that we have is a tremendous workforce. While my region is strictly 14 rural counties, we connect to the Gainesville MSA, to the Tallahassee MSA, and to Jacksonville. And so we look at the vast amount of workforce talent that we can bring to the table. We bring a lot of, especially as it relates to our targeted industries, which are primarily manufacturing, advanced, heavy, and industrial, but also logistics and distribution and warehousing. With the amount of sites that we have located along interstate interchanges, those are really conducive to moving freight and product. And so those assets in and of themselves are great. One thing that you wouldn't maybe identify with ourselves is our aviation assets. A lot of commercial and freight and cargo landing strips, as well as really close access and proximity to international airports in Jacksonville, as well as Tallahassee, and regional airports in Gainesville. Lastly, I would tell you, we have spent the last 3 years inventorying all of our developable sites in our targeted industries. And so we've got an inventory of sites that when we get the parameters of the specs from a private company, we can give them ready feedback to those sites that might be conducive to their projects. Do that in a very quick fashion, give them access to look at our assets electronically, so that if it's a good fit for them. And again, I think we have the lowest land prices and the competitive wages from a workforce standpoint to be attractive to any product. Lastly, I mentioned intangible, and I hope you hear the passion in my voice that I spoke with earlier, because we have local governing communities that are hungry for growth. They're hungry to be able to accommodate prospects, be creative in the local incentives that they can be able to provide. We also have a generational workforce in a lot of our targeted industries with regard to those blue collar and trades type industries. We're also a big hub for renewable energy. And so we have a lot of generational workforce, people that are willing to commute and still commute 45 minutes to an hour for good high wage paying jobs. And so we just, I think, bring a great unique package to anybody. And I would close with telling you, a lot of companies and a lot of interests that are coming to us is the ability to move that freight and cargo without congestion, because we offer that in rural Florida. So thank you for the opportunity.
Sure, Jeff. And that passion sure is coming through loud and clear. No question about that. And I want to remind everybody who's listening from cyberspace, the chat room is certainly open. We do have a few questions in there, and we can certainly hit a couple more. Mark, I wanted to turn back to you. Something in your presentation kind of intrigued me. You mentioned a soft landing program. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, Casey, the soft landing program was designed as a place where domestic and international companies, big and small, can have a small office or manufacturing space to test out the market and then grow. Many companies establish a small presence at the soft landing program while they learn more about the market. The incredible part is that so many resources, financial, legal, accounting, marketing, business mentoring, and more are all part of that program. And companies work side by side with other international companies that are looking to do the same thing, or they may be facing similar challenges or are eager to learn more from one another. It's really a fantastic way for any company to get their start in Florida, especially for those who are not familiar with doing business in the U.S. So I highly recommend it.
Great call, Mark. And back to Erica, you got me hooked. I got to learn more about this Triumph program. Tell us more about it.
Absolutely. Well, like I mentioned, Triumph is a little bit different than a lot of incentive programs in that they are responsive and flexible and looking for new ideas, new creative ways to use their funding to bring business to Northwest Florida. So, you know, I've given the example where we have used Triumph funds to bring infrastructure to our industrial parks. In fact, I mentioned the Aviation Park, but we also have a couple of industrial parks that are situated right on Interstate 10, perfect for distribution manufacturing companies. We have also used Triumph funds to bring infrastructure to those parks and make sure that those parks are shovel ready for companies. So that's one way that Triumph funds can be used. Triumph funds can also be used for workforce programs. We're working right now on an A&P mechanics school to help support companies like Leonardo or ST Engineering in Pensacola. Workforce programs are common and have been very successful. In fact, of all the workforce programs that have been implemented with Triumph funds, they are all have met their metrics in the first couple of years and have been wildly successful. Lastly, Triumph funds can be used to help offset property taxes. So the local ability to offset the county portion of property taxes, and Triumph can offset remaining property taxes. So the companies could potentially have zero tax burden for 10, 15, 20 years. There's more. Again, like I mentioned, the Triumph board is very receptive to creative ideas. They love hearing stories of companies who are considering Northwest Florida, but, you know, what are their needs? Do they need, you know, assistance with equipment purchase? Triumph is looking for those creative ideas. So I think in that way, the Triumph Fund is a lot different than other incentive funds. You know, there's also less paperwork. I hear frequently from companies that they just really don't like reporting requirements and the administrative burden of incentive programs. And so you're not going to find that with Triumph Gulf Coast. So can't talk enough about Triumph. It's, like I said, it's been transformational for our region.
Yeah, sure. Sounds like it, Erica. And I didn't get a question here. One of the more surprising stats that I heard of all the presentations came from Mr. Hohenstein. Is it really true 80% of the Orlando Space Coast jobs come from industries other than tourism? Can that really be right?
It's true, Casey. I know that's always a surprise for people that maybe used to coming to this region for, you know, with their family and enjoying all our hospitality and the theme parks and whatnot. But there's a robust, actually, diversity of industry here. You have modeling, simulation, and training companies. You have defense companies that are here, laser and photonics. You've got a consumer market here that is thriving. A lot of companies are looking at this region for, you know, building products, manufacturing, food and beverage, cold storage. You know, trying to get those products from point A to point B around the region. And so because of its growth, you do see a lot of companies coming from that region. And one thing I should mention, you know, I mentioned defense. If you think about it, the Central Florida Research Park is home to about 90% of the military's purchasing operations. So you can imagine a lot of companies want to locate near that park and in this region so that they can be close to those operations. So it's really thriving. You've got software development, you've got electronic arts is here. You've got a lot of different companies that are doing a variety of things that people don't realize. So it's true.
Wow. Hey, Jeff, kind of similar question. Talk us a little bit about the diversity of industries that you've got in North Central Florida. I was real curious to hear about that too. Oh, I think you're muted, Jeff.
Thank you.
Usually I win that award,
yeah,
Jeff.
Absolutely. Yeah, we really do. You look at the, of course, our wood basket is really kind of the anchor of the region with regard to lumber processing, but also is that at the byproduct from a lot of the lumber processing gets into renewable energy with regard to pellets that are often exported over to the European market, as well as kind of reinvested in areas here. We also are well into manufacturing on the metal side. And so when you look at, you know, really the workforce is conducive to those munitions and those kinds of metal products, the creation of a lot of pole barns and all the materials that have to be manufactured to go in to enable those barns to be built in the agribusiness community. Certainly renewable energy is a tremendous opportunity for us. You will see a lot, and Mark can attest to this, as well as our colleagues at FP&L and Duke Energy with regard to solar farms, moving into that direction of capturing that energy, distributing that energy, and looking at other bases for the agribusiness world, which is continuing to progress with technology. And so with technology gives you the opportunity to manufacture the products that go into those distribution systems. And so with regard to manufacturing, it is a huge thing. I would tell you logistics and distribution, everything from Target and Walmart distribution centers, excuse me, to kind of unique mom and pop shops that are looking to export their product. And so I just think our geography, our workforce talent, we are very blessed with a number of technical colleges that can really customize their training programs and skill sets to meet the needs of any company that comes in these kind of targeted industries. Just great opportunity here, but I just think we are diversifying day by day. We just were able to attract 2 out-of-state companies to come into North Florida just based on the workforce alone. And so I just think the diversity of industry is really complemented by our workforce, our higher education and technical colleges that are willing to work with any company to generate the skill set and workforce that we need to support their product.
Absolutely, Jeff. That's the name of the game. Go ahead, Mark.
May I comment on what Jeff was just talking about? I think that there's a great opportunity for manufacturers in Florida, because the state of Florida, Enterprise Florida, did a study years ago where we were showing a client that was trying to look at the Southeast where they should put their manufacturing operation. And they actually showed them that the logistic costs for putting that operation in Florida was less than in South Carolina or North Carolina. And that's because we're such a consumer-driven state, we've got a lot of products coming in. There's a low cost of shipping out. So there's that backhaul cost is much less when you ship out. And so that manufacturer can reach their markets in the Southeast cheaper in Florida than they can in a place like South Carolina, which is in the Southeast. So that's something to think about as a manufacturer looking at Florida.
Yeah, Mark, that's a really, really good point. And I think that's pretty much true statewide. Florida is a state that is in demand, not only for residents, but for consumers and companies too. So taking advantage of those backhaul rates, those pennies and nickels add up, most definitely. Well, did have a question. Do you who would recommend a tech company expanding in Florida?
Definitely.
All right, we got at least two hands and probably 3. All right, I knew it. Just 30 seconds on why a tech company would want to be in your region. Mark, you go ahead and go first. You jumped out of your chair, I think.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, it's, I think I touched a little bit on it in my presentation, but if you think about it, you've got other tech companies here where you can actually collaborate and learn and grow with. You've got different groups and partnerships that bring people together to really help that synergy grow and develop. So I think that it's a great way to not only meet other tech companies and become more creative, come up with new ideas, innovate, but also to find the talent here. I mean, you've got that talent among the different companies I've talked about that you can pull from, and that's going to make your company more successful as a tech company in this region, Orlando Space Coast region.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an old saying in economic development: you don't get fired for putting a technology company in Austin. That doesn't mean that Austin's the best place for that technology company, right? It could very well be that that a community in Florida is a perfect fit. Jeff, you just about jumped out of your chair as well. Tell me about tech.
Yeah, I just think that as we see what's happening globally with regard to supply chain, the really driving force of wanting to do things more in the United States. But from a technology standpoint, we have a couple of sensor manufacturing companies We're looking at, I know it seems pie in the sky, but you know, we're going to need to reshore a lot of those microchips and things of that nature. They're going to not necessarily, they will require scientists, but they'll also require those people in the trenches that are going to be running those machines. And the more they become automated, they're going to have vast amounts of land to be able to grow and expand. And I just think that sometimes we kind of get stereotyped with regard to looking at rural, but rural offers a lot of opportunity with regard to technical training. We're bookended by the 2 flagship universities in the state of Florida, as well as the technical colleges, again, in the state colleges. And just so I think if we're looking out 3 to 5 to 10 years, which is what we do, we want to look at where we want to be and what our vision is. We want to be the branded manufacturing hub for technology, as well as manufacturing and logistics and distribution, not only in the state of Florida, but also in the Southeast. And so we have to be looking at the trends globally to be able to capitalize on that, make sure we're investing in the workforce programs and technical college programs so that we don't have to react to what the company needs, but we're able to proactively recruit them with the folks we have.
Yeah, agreed, Jeff. And tech these days is embedded in just about everything that any one of us does, whether that's in software development, which we can do from a beach, and we got a lot of those here in Florida, or from manufacturing component, same exact thing. Erica, please jump in and let us know a little bit more about tech in Northwest Florida too.
Yes, well, I had slow reactions to raise my hand, but absolutely Northwest Florida is a great place to host a tech company as well. I'm going to start again with our military and the workforce skills that they provide. Pensacola is home to Naval Air Station Corey Field, which is tops in the world for their cybersecurity programs. So again, exiting military, exiting workforce with those state-of-the-art cyber skills. University of West Florida also has an excellent cybersecurity program that's been recognized by the federal government as a center of excellence. So again, the workforce. And then I'm going to revert back to the cost of doing business in Florida. You know, I think that's an excellent point that Mark made. While it's true for all of Florida, you know, we have a specific example of a company in the finance industry that expanded from the Washington, D.C. area to Florida. And even with the cost of construction for their campus that they built, still on an annual basis, cheaper for them to be here in Florida than Washington, D.C. So absolutely, Florida and North Florida are excellent places for tech companies to locate.
Excellent, Erica. Agreed. And there's another old saying in economic development: never underestimate the power of no personal income tax. So as talent attraction and talent retention becomes a more powerful and important part of every company's business plan, having a state like Florida where you can offer your employees a cost savings the moment that they change their address to move to Florida, all of a sudden you become more competitive from a talent attraction and talent retention, particularly if it doesn't matter where that person hangs their hat, as they say. It doesn't matter where they live. They can live in Florida and do fantastic work alongside others, very talented people. Well, for us, I think we've gone through our questions. This has been a tremendous panel, and I'll just ask the panelists if there's any parting thoughts you want to share with Planet Earth as we round out this effort. I'll kick it back over to Erica. Anything else on Northwest Florida? You've done a great job.
Yeah, you know, actually, I wanted to piggyback off of some comments that Jeff made earlier. You know, I think what Jeff and I have in common is we're North Florida. We're, you know, while Northwest Florida is not quite as rural as the counties that he represents, we are a little bit different from the more heavily populated Central and South Florida. So having said that, you know, Jeff mentioned the willingness to do whatever it takes. I just wanted to echo that. I think when we work with a company, and, you know, I'll go back to Leonardo, our community has been so supportive of that company coming to Northwest Florida, that the whatever it takes attitude is absolutely true. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a grocery store and someone's come up to me and said, hey, when is Leonardo going to open its doors? When are they going to start hiring? So excited, so welcoming. So, you know, as we were working through the process with Leonardo, you know, they were awarded their federal contract. They said, great, we want to start building our facility, but oh gosh, we need to get down there now. We need a presence in Northwest Florida right now. So, you know, we tried to find an existing facility. They needed a helicopter hangar. Well, you know, there wasn't one that existed that met their needs. So we put our heads together and we decided to build one for them. You know, we made miracles happen. We found the money to do it, and we had to do it on an extreme expedited timeline. Unbeknownst to us at the time, but the pandemic was about to happen. Major supply shortages and steel shortages were about to happen. Nonetheless, we were able to construct a temporary facility for the company so that they could honor their contract, and that they could establish their presence here in Northwest Florida as quickly as possible. So I just wanted to share that story of how the communities here in North Florida and Northwest Florida really rallied together, and absolutely, you know, sort of, you know, once you, I hate to be, to put it this way, but, you know, you become like family to us up here. And so I think that personal attention and that willingness and that acceptance in the community is really characteristic of North Florida. And I wanted to share the example with Leonardo. You know, they've been in their temporary hangar for about a year now. They've hired a couple dozen folks, most of them with military experience. Again, that exiting military, AMP mechanics, pilots, folks who understand working with the military. That's all valuable to companies. So I wanted to share that success story on a closing note, that, you know, we're very supportive and willing to do whatever it takes.
That is a fantastic point there. You also touched, Erica, on something that I think was referenced earlier, the ability to get things done quickly. There are a lot of companies out there on a tight timeline. Sometimes the board takes a little longer to vote on something than we all would like, but that just means the team's got to get it done. So I'm really excited to see multiple examples of teams just coming together and getting it done. That's what it's all about. Jeff, any other thoughts from your side?
Yeah, I want to echo something back at Erica that she just mentioned. And in our business, as we know, not only within our local communities and with the state, but also worldwide and international, it's all about the relationships and the trust that we build. It is following through on what our commitments are, not over promising what we can deliver, but trying to deliver everything that we can. We have a lot of communities that have very accessible local governing bodies where businesses and decisions from everything from permitting to rezoning can get done in a very, very quick way if those are things that are needed. I think that's one of the real assets of a rural community and a smaller community, is that those decisions can be made in a very, very timely way. I think you will find our communities to be very creative in finding a way to make a deal work. With regard to financing and the expertise. I must brag on one of my colleagues, Diane Scholes, who knows how to find financing gaps. When we've got a financing issue, we're going to find a way to make that project happen if it's at all possible. I think we can help personalize and navigate those state and federal programs in cooperation with a number of people nationally and internationally that I think is often needed. And we just know that we've got to be, it's all about being responsive. It's all about being substantive in our responses to these folks internationally as well as across our country. And at the end of the day, again, I go back to our vision for our region. We will be relentless in pursuing that vision, our physical infrastructure, and I think our intangible things that we bring to the table will be very attractive to anyone that might be wanting to expand or relocate a business or start something from scratch. And so I would close by sharing with you that we have so many great partners, from the state level to our investor-owned utilities to our rural electrical co-ops to private rail companies. We have developed these relationships over the past 10 to 12 years by engaging them in everything that we do. And we get them to the table at the time period that they need to be there, not too long, not waiting too long. And so I believe that we're a great place for you to consider. I'd encourage you to go to nflp.org. And then those numbers that you see on that screen are our cell phone numbers. They're not an office number. We're accessible 24/7, and we look forward to working with each and every one on the people hearing this dialogue. And trust me, Florida and North Florida are a great place to do business.
Jeff, I love to hear that. And there's nothing like the power of partnerships. Economic development, we feel, is a team sport, and we're all key members of the team. So, Mark, take us home.
Well, Erica and Jeff said it very well. I'll just add that, the partnership is real. It's great to be part of the overall ED effort or economic development effort in Florida. You can see we work well together. And, as a company that's looking at the Orlando Space Coast region, I would just say, really assess your project needs and requirements, assess your challenges. Let us help you in problem solving. I encourage companies to touch base with our state economic development partner, Enterprise Florida, our local partners in this region, the Orlando Economic Partnership, Elevate Lake, Team Volusia EDC, the Space Coast EDC. There are just a few to mention there, but they will help you. They can provide site search guidance, regional analytics, workforce information, and other key data points that will help inform your decision. And I just would leave you with this: come and see, because perceptions change when you see it firsthand. So come and see this diverse, creative, and growing region. And just really excited to be a part of this panel, Casey, and thank you for the time.
Absolutely. Well, I'd encourage everyone in cyberspace to please go visit our virtual booths that are still on the portal. Talk with our economic development professionals who are manning those booths virtually. And hey, once you make a connection, come on over and see us. We would be delighted to work with you to help make your company successful. So thank you so much. And looking forward to seeing you all at the next panel and seeing everybody watching in Florida soon. Thanks.